Welcome everybody to the Get Wrecked Gold Capped Fall Season. I am What's You Pretty. I will be one of your casters for today, and joining me today is a new friend of mine, Regdar. How you doing tonight?
I'm just living the dream, ready to see what kinds of craziness we're gonna have in this game.
On the blue side tonight, we have the Mingos. We've got Alien Boy 42 in the top lane on that Heimerdinger, Jimothy Halpert on the Xin Zhao in the jungle, Donkey Cheeks rocking the Malzahar in the mid, and Ariana Grande and Volfi running the Ash Nautilus in the bot side.
And over on the red side, we have rivals in the top lane, Ice Surge on the Mordekaiser, Ice Sight on the Graves in the jungle, Tall X Guy in the mid lane, piloting Nico. And in the bot lane, we have Dodge the Q and CB the Barbarian on the Akshan Braum.
Akshan Braum, a pretty interesting combination. Maybe trying to take advantage of that Akshan double shot passive, proc that passive a little more. But I am worried about Akshan's range. He might be in a little bit of trouble if Ash ever gets close to him.
Yeah, it's really not what you'd like to see with Nautilus Ash that continues to slow you and hold you in place forever and a day versus not a whole lot of trading power early from Akshan. A lot of his power in his kit is in the heroic swing and be able to get down damage that way. But it really looks like they'll have to play the lane kind of passively into this. I don't know how the draft turned out to equal up that way, but definitely I think Rival's going to start on the back foot in that lane.
We can see that Graves is starting on the top side of the map, maybe looking to pilot down bot, expecting Ash Nautilus to push up a little bit harder, maybe looking to get a cheeky level 2, level 3 gank in there.
Yeah, and I have to say, the top side is really the question mark for me. Alien Boy, I think, is known for some interesting things in life, but the Heimerdinger is definitely one of those little off-meta pieces, so we'll have to see how Ice Surge can play into that and maybe get around some of the stickiness of the turrets early on.
Yeah, we've seen Alien Boy on his fair share of Tom Kench games, but I think this is the first time we're seeing him on Heimerdinger, on stream at least. So we got a few interesting picks in this game to watch out for. We'll have to see how they turn out as the game starts getting a little bit more action-packed.
Oh, 100%. And, if it's the side of Mingos, if they're anything like their Platinum predecessors, they are known for having these interesting comps and kind of playing the game by their own terms. Down 10K, we're just gonna win a team fight randomly, or it's just a 3-game series. So what's game one gonna do? So it's always interesting to see this evolution of playstyle inside of GRLCS.
Seeing how different picks end up being more or less meta. I do think that Mordekaiser is definitely going to struggle in the early game versus Heimerdinger. If you hit that pull on Heimer, maybe you bring in a turret with you, and then you are just taking a lot of turret damage. It deletes the isolation damage. CV the Barbarian just being a little cheeky, denying the cannon away from Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande is such a great name. And up on the top side, you can already see that Heimer being able to get the early prio in lane, and Jimothy Halpert just actually lying in wait up there, see if he might be getting anything done.
Maybe just opting for a counter gank, thinking that Graves started on the bottom side, but it means Graves is going to take that bottom side scuttle free of charge.
And we love that, and that's exactly what you'd want to see. Is we already see Eyesight's kind of pathing towards the bot side, maybe to either look for a play.
Swing. He's maybe in a little bit too deep. Wolfie hits the hook. Gets exhausted immediately, has to flash away. So it is just going to be exhaust for flash trade. Ariana Grande looking for some damage back. Eyesight taking a bit of a chunk, but early game Ashe not exactly known for her high damage. So it is just going to be flash burn for the exhaust.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we see some kind of different build out of Ashe. It has been...
Ongi Cheek's taking a heavy bit of damage there.
Did not respect the early Nico damage. Who's known for that burst. But what I was saying is I hope that Ashe opts for a more damage-focused build. The whole shield bow whips in that it's become.
Has to flash away. Tall guy flashing in for the last auto, but doesn't have enough damage to finish it off. Eyesight was sitting on a ward down here in the bot lane, so they know he's still here. They are just stalling as much time away from him as possible. But thankfully, the only camps that are available for him to take are on his top side, so he's not losing too much time.
That is the downside of trying to mess with an Ashe, is her W is up seemingly all the time just to stop you from backing.
Yeah, and we are just seeing a pretty low action game so far. Just that one gank in the bot side. Jimothy Halpert looking to protect his Heimer. Other than that, just a pretty slow early game. And I gotta say, this probably favors the Mingos. Just looking into the later game with Malzahar, Ashe, Heimerdinger, Xin. These champions that can really accelerate ahead pretty quick.
Very much so, and it doesn't look like from the side of Rivals that they have too many things to sort of answer or get in. They don't have a very particularly dive-focused comp. Maybe the Nico be able to get straight to the backline with a good flank angle. But 100%, I think in the 5v5, there's so many tools that Mingos can have to slow down the pace of the game and allow them to get to where they want to be.
Right now, surprisingly enough, we're seeing most of the poke on the bottom side go into the Mingos instead of being in their favor. Wolfie taking a lot of punishment on this Nautilus. CB the Barbarian looking for an engage. The Cannon Creep blocks that Winter's Bite. Jimothy Halpert is here. CB the Barbarian forced to flash away. Jimothy Halpert looking for that Wind Becomes Lightning. Doesn't manage to land it, so they are just going to walk away from that one.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing with Akshan, whether it be in the mid lane or the bot lane, is the Avenger Ring and its ability to kind of damage through the wave. It's almost like playing against a Misfortune, that you can't actually stand with your minions in the wave. You actually have to play off to the side, because it can go so far.
Ice Surge looking for the flash into the Death Realm. Alien Boy dodging out all the spells, puts down the big turret. Ice Surge taking a bit of punishment. Eyesight is here for the follow-up. There is none to be had. Alien Boy takes no damage to the Death Realm and outplays it. Give him a little thumbs up.
And that's the pain of Heimerdinger. As a solo queue player, I absolutely hate seeing Heimerdinger anywhere in my games because he just has the ability to be so safe. And you know what? Even if you get onto him, he just pops down that upgraded turret, and you may even die to it, even if you get the kill on him. So really well played by Alien Boy, working his range.
Jimothy Halpert forced to flash out of the Dragon Pit as 3 of the Rivals players have come down to greet him. And it looks like they are just going to collect the dragon for themselves. Don't need a jungler. Thanks for the leash. Jimothy will be taking that.
That's a real feels bad moment, but that's really playing the map well. Tall X guy having that prio in the mid lane just to be able to walk down and say, hey, we can contest this. Our jungler can go do something somewhere else on the map. Eyesight does end up down there, but it's just early game pressure just coming to fruition. This Malzahar is not having a fun time thus far.
Yeah, Graves is one of these champions that really can get out of hand if he's allowed to pick up a few items, get some extra gold on the map. If he hits that Eclipse or that Shield Bow, just gets a lot of those tanky stats out of just life stealing, makes him really difficult to deal with. In the meantime, CB looking for the engage onto Volfi. From passive stacking, there goes the exhaust, but Jimothy Halpert, he's here looking for the punish. Good hook onto dodge the Q and to the root. He's going to be in trouble. Has to flash away. CB the Barbarian doesn't have his W available just yet, so he's going to be taken down. First blood over to Jimothy Halpert. Yashiro lands on the dodge the Q as well. He dings 6 off the gank. Heal is burned, and that's just going to be the kill. Give it over to Ariana Grande as well. Great follow-up from the side of Mingos.
That was the most unfortunate timing if you're a Rivals fan, but that is the beauty of the Ashe Nautilus lane. Just able to lock down opponents. CCs and slows on both their kits just means if you're out of position, you are going to die.
Yeah, and right there we see the pain of the Heimerdinger lane. You teleport in, you're exactly where he wants you to be. Throws the stun, gets a little bit of damage poke on top of you, just makes you suffer a bit more.
I will say that Heimer, it has a lot of the capabilities to continue to burn down and make Isurge's time super hard. I think a lot of his utility that he would find elsewhere on the map is just mitigated because he's going to have to play under his tower this entire time. Unless he gets some jungler attention, gets some sort of substantial lead in items over Heimer, he's just going to continue to be stuck right here and have to just kind of pull the wave towards him, get the Q down, and just farm slowly, which is not where you want to be as a Mordekaiser.
Yeah, and certainly Alien Boy is not having a problem with this at all. Heimerdinger is not exactly a champion that you pick for late game scaling and hyper carry functionality, but in the meantime, Donkey Cheeks getting ganked, puts down the suppression. Tall Guy gets the shield from the Pop Blossom, so he is going to survive. Dodge the Q comes in with the hook shot, and he gets the kill over to Eyesight.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to play Akshan in the ADC position, this is what you have to do, is sort of just mega shove for priority and look to make those roams, whether it be to neutral objectives or up to the mid lane, with his W that has a lot of different things going on in it. But one of those things is that camouflage that allows you to kind of sneak around the map unseen. And
Ooh, Alien Boy popping the ultimate onto Isurge, taking a big chunk of damage, but he's got that W shield, so he should just be able to walk away from there. Just Alien Boy swinging his gold lead around the lane, making sure that Isurge knows what's up.
And Isurge continues just the sad boy hours right now, trying to get out of there. And it looks like Rivals is opted to send Nico down to the bot lane to try to cover this. Ashe is just continuing to continue to get up in CS, up in items, and now with 2 turret plates to her name as well. This should really accelerate the game forward for her.
Good root onto Ariana Grande, but with the Pop Blossom not up just yet, not looking for any follow-up. I do think this is a bit of an awkward rotation. They have Tall Guy and Dodge the Q down in bot lane, while they have CB the Barbarian sitting in mid lane. Maybe just trying to pretend that Akshan isn't there. Here comes that Pop Blossom. Great summon to Ariana Grande. Tall Guy picks up that one. Now Volfi in a little bit of trouble. Maybe he can get to the wall to get that hook shot. No, he misses! And that's just going to be the kill. Give it over to Dodge the Q. Really well played gank from the rival side.
Yeah, that is a strat, I guess. The ADC that's not played for lane anymore is just going to go around and pick up these kills wherever you can. And you saw right there, even now, with just sitting on that Noon Quiver, how much damage that E does when it's actually on a champion.
Timothy Halpert looking for the engage onto Eyesight, pops the Crescent Guard, CB the Barbarian tanks up the Ashe Arrow, but now he's stunned for an eternity. Almost dead, gets the Guardian Shield, and actually manages to get out of there now. Timothy Halpert in a bit of trouble in the Death Realm. Isurge looking for the kill. Alien Boy also taking a bunch of damage outside the Death Realm. Tall Guy looking for his way in. Isurge picks up Timothy Halpert there. CB the Barbarian escaping with a sliver of HP as the Rift Herald really wants to finish that one off.
Yeah, CB the Barbarian there with some pretty good tech. He actually almost got killed by first a Heimerdinger turret, and then the Crab tried to come by and take a kill on him too. It was a good look at first from the Mingos, but Isurge finally able to get out there and say, I can fight somebody if their name's not Heimerdinger, if I'm allowed to get on top of them.
Definitely a lot easier to fight a Xin Zhao without ulti than it is a Heimerdinger. Good pickup from Isurge there. Nobody collects the Rift Herald, but I think that still comes out in favor of the rivals.
100%. Now, the interesting thing we continue to see is what is Rivals going to do with their bot lane, whether send it back down there to the traditional laning phase that we're still in, or continue to try to rotate them around the map, which I think is probably your better decision. as we see them kind of posturing around this objective.
Absolutely. You want Akshan to abuse that W invisibility, even if he shows up a little bit late to the fight, trying to get those revivals off, trying to just bring his team back, get that extra gold. There's lots of ways that Akshan can pilot the fight, and as Rivals picks up their second dragon, we've got the Infernal map on the scene. We've got some exciting dragons at the very least. No cloud maps here today.
Yeah, we love that. Yeah, exactly. I think this matchup is not the best for them, so if they continue to play the map well and just rotate their bot lane around, trying to stay one step ahead, either Mingos just say, okay, we'll just continue to leave our bot lane here, or now they're on the back foot and they have to continue to try to rotate to keep up with this Akshan that just wants to roam and get this damage down. We do see what looks like he's building towards a Kraken Slayer, which, from what I've seen, the on-hit variety has been the flavor of the month for Akshan.
Ash Arrow lands onto CB the Barbarian, pops the Unbreakable, will dodge the Q, getting the hook shot all the way out of the fight, just leaving his support to die. Toss the Glacial Fissure, but there's no re-engage to be had. He is out of there. Flash in from Donkey Cheeks, the little bit of a spectator bug. I wasn't expecting to see that one. Tall guy maybe walking out on a bit of HP. Dodge the Q now here for the follow-up. When it becomes lightning, lands onto him, but he picks up the kill onto Donkey Cheeks. Now with the blast plane here, maybe he can get out in time. Timothy Halbert over the wall into the low health arms of Tall guy, but doesn't get killed for it. They do walk away.
Extremely good counterplay there by Akshan, knowing that CB the Barbarian was just going to be dead. He said, hey, I'll just go back to tower, but a little over-aggressiveness from Donkey Cheeks allows him to pick up the counter kill, and then the reset on his heroic swing with each kill or assist makes it that much easier for him to be able to get out. So well played overall by the side of Rivals to turn what could be nothing into something.
Yeah, this Akshan is definitely picking up kills. Looks for the heroic swing in onto Volfi. Props the Braum passive. Exhaust going down onto Ariana Grande. Volfi looking very low, but Aftershock putting in a lot of work for this fight. Means he is going to survive, and now Ariana Grande may be looking for the re-engage, but they're not going to go for it just yet.
What'll definitely be interesting is the short arms of Rivals when we get into these 5v5 team fights. Akshan's attack range is only about 500, so super short range champion. Graves also not known for being that mobile in that regard, or having that large of an attack range either. So they really need for the Mingos to have to come into them. So rotating two objectives early, having them have to fight their way in through vision is going to be the only way.
Walking into Jimothy Halper, pops the Crescent Guard, Eyesight, pops back into the bush, 90 bit of vision. Looks like it's just going to be the ultimate taken away from Jimothy.
Jimothy not really finding the looks that he's wanted yet. That's 2 times we've seen Crescent Guard really been activated in this 1v1 scenario or 2v2 and not really getting used to its max potential thus far. So Mingo's jungler not getting the same amount of activity in the game as I think he wants. You can see there's a significant 40, almost 40-ish CS lead to the side of Eyesight.
Braum lands the passive. Stun coming down onto Ariana Grande, but he flashes away before the last auto can come in. Volfi landing a really good knockup onto 2. Timothy Halbert looking for the re-engage, lands the wind, becomes lightning onto CB Barbarian, but Tall Guy is here for the follow-up. A great Flash Pop Blossom means that Ariana Grande is going to die to the Nico Q. And in the meantime, CB Barbarian does go down, tanking him a little bit too much damage on the front side. Mingos looking for their opportunity to re-engage, but their tools are already used, and the Ravens are just going to walk away with the 1-for-1.
And that is the one downside of Akshan, is it's a little bit of geometry of trying to get your heroic swings. Oh,
Timothy a little bit too low, gets the revival onto his support, can't finish the kill onto Volfi. That's an extra 100 gold for dodge the Q, and the revive on his support back on the map.
That's just unfortunate overall. But Akshan continues to have these resets and continues to find the right angles and fights to be able to re-engage. And it's really making the huge difference right now for Rivals overall, and just allowing them to keep this tempo moving. As you can already see, T1 tower is gone mid and bot side with the Drake coming up in 42 seconds. Both waves pushed. They're in a really good position to go ahead and claim the 3rd Drake of the game for themselves.
Yeah, right now, Tall Guy actually putting in a lot of work on the map right now. 3-0-3 on this Nico. 9 stacks with that Dark Seal to his name. He's looking really strong right now.
That's what we call a tall man. He actually was one of the people who played on my first GRLCS team when I played in Gold League. Played the patented lethal tempo Silas top, doing a lot of work. It's great to see him continue to do these amazing things in the mid lane.
I don't think I've ever heard the words lethal tempo and Silas Top in the same sentence. Uh,
You know, sometimes things happen in draft that we're not expecting, but
Sometimes you just got to work with it, and that's the way you play around being in the in like well what we call the lower levels, the gold level play of the GRLCS. But it also means you can have a bit more fun with the game. So right now we've got the Mingos sizing up this dragon, looking to pick their first one up of the game. They're a little bit down in gold right now, but it looks like they've got the map rotation first. Just a little bit of posturing right now. Good vision from the Mingos means they're going to spot out Steve the Barbarian, dodge the Q, still unseen right now. Not willing to start up the dragon just yet. They're just sitting on top of it.
yeah, this is not where you want to be as rivals with your mid laner having to continue to try to.
Oh, the flash ults from Donkey Cheeks, but he mistimes the spells. Cancels out his own ulti, but with the Malefic Visions and the Leander's Burn, he is going to get the shut down onto Tall Guy. Take a lot of those Stark Seal stacks away from him. Now with that, they're going to look to re-engage the fight and take this dragon for themselves. Can Rivals find the mark? Dodge the Q on the flank, but he gets hit by the Nautilus hook into the ulti, and he's just going to be crowd controlled so much, but he's somehow surviving for a super long shutdown given over to Alien Boy. Death Realm being popped onto Jimothy Halpert. A double kill for Alien Boy now. Just the turrets ruling these fights. Ariana Grande picking up Eye Search as he comes out of the Death Realm. Now he's looking for the kill onto Eyesight as well. Alien Boy a little bit low on health, maybe chasing too far. But it looks like Eyesight is going to get away from there, but that is a 4-for-0 in favor of the Mingos.
That is exactly what Rivals does not want to happen. Sadly, Tall Guy not even be able to participate in the team fight due to having to be in the mid lane to try to catch that. Their team was just split up in a way that the Mingos could really say, okay, we can either go fight you 4v5 in the Drake pit, or we can just turn and get this easy mid lane kill, which then basically takes your comp and kind of removes a lot of the efforts that you want out of it.
Yeah, right now Nico is a lot of the range and a lot of the engage that the Rivals have for themselves. So without the Nico with the flank for the Pop Blossom or even a Flash Pop Blossom to get into the backline, it's really difficult for this rival side to have access to the Ashe and to the Heimer. So it's going to make it a lot more difficult if Tall Guy is not allowed to be in these fights.
Absolutely, and CB the Barbarian has to watch out as well. He kind of got poked down from both the Malzahar as well as Ashe in preparation for the fight. So when you're a half health engage like Braum can be, you lose a lot of your effectiveness as well.
Eyesight tries to sidestep the arrow, still gets caught out by it. CB the Barbarian flashing in to make sure that his jungler stays alive. Looks like it is just going to be the ultimate trader for the flash. I don't know if Mango saw the flash, so they may not be aware of that one. But Alien Boy on the side. The hook somehow landing on the Tall Guy there. He's going to get knocked up by the dredge line. And now he's going to be taken down. See the Barbarian taken low as well. But that means Wolfie's going to be traded back in return. Eyesight looking really low. The Immortal Shield Belt is popped. Alien Boy looking for the stun. Lands it. And that's the kill. Give it over to him as well. Dodge the Q looking for his way into this. Alien Boy has 2 kills on top of his head. If he can get that revive and get that gold, really big. Dodge the Q, sneaking up behind as the Mingos look for this tower. Still just sneaking around, but he may just want the farm instead.
We were watching an action thriller for a second. Secret Agent Man dodged the Q, just looking for a kill, but unable to find one.
Yeah, good positioning by the Mingos to make sure that no one was on their own. Can't be caught out by the Akshan with his heroic entrance. So that is just going to be, looks like the Baron given over to Mingos. Donkey Cheeks popping the Blast Cone to make sure there's no entrance into this. And the Smite from Jimothy Halpert. In the meantime, Icer just teleported into the back. Jimothy Halpert now in the Death Realm in a little bit of trouble. A good Crescent Guard without being popped onto Isurge. He is going to pick up Jimothy Halpert into Death Realm there. But they are going to, I think you every day, take a 1 for Baron trade.
Oh, 100%. And, right now where the map state is, there's a lot of gold sitting out there for the side of Mingos. You basically have a dead tower in the mid lane, one in the bot lane that gets picked up. So with the power they have right now in both Alien Boy 42 as well as this Donkey Cheeks in the mid lane, I think they could really push towards a 1-3-1 and start picking up some of that gold and kind of collapsing the map down.
Yeah, Malzahar and Heimer, 2 champions that are very difficult to punish in the side lane. Heimer just with his insane range and Donkey Cheeks having that spell shield ability, making it very difficult to get him with a random Ashe arrow or a random Nautilus hook. Or, no, those are on his team. Hang on. I swear my brain is working functionally today. It's hard to find him with a Pop Blossom or a Glacial Fissure. There we go.
I love it. Yes, all of those things are bad for a Malzahar, but a little bit easier to survive. The question will be is, as of right now, it looks like they're sort of posturing around this bot side, clearing out some vision. Heimer just kind of hanging out in the top lane, trading waves with Dodge the Q and iSurge both hanging out there. So really, with nothing up on the map for a minute 20, if you're the side of Rivals, I think that you have to continue to just get vision set up. Their line of vision right now is basically right around the mid lane, and that's it. So them getting to be able to rotate early and get any of these picks, make Mingos walk into them, is really the name of the game for him.
Speaking of walking into them, I say walking into that Nautilus hook, gets ignited, has the malefic visions on him, and a good Ash Arrow meets is going to be stunned up and taken down. Ariana Grande picks up that kill. I think Rivals were actually in a pretty good spot here. The Baron buff was not being used very effectively, not getting a lot of tower push out of it, just Jimothy Halpert without it pushing down this bottom side tier 1, but they did look for that engage and it just didn't work out for them.
Yeah, interesting play all around, and that's exactly what you have to tell teams, right, in our lower elo that, hey, if you have the Baron buff, there's no reason to fight. Just push the waves, pick up the gold, and continue to accelerate your gold lead ahead. It's only about 2K, a little under, ahead of Rivals right now, but instead we just see them get to pick up some free kills because Rivals got a little over aggressive and thought, hey, we can take this guy out.
Yeah, now with the Dragon spawning in about 5 seconds, looks like both teams want a position for this one. Rivals really don't want to give a second Infernal over to this Mingo side. We're going to have a very straight 5v5, but the Mingos have already started the Dragon. Eyesight is not there yet, down to 2k, down to 1, and it's just going to be picked up for free. Rivals not willing to pull the trigger on the fight.
Yeah, it's kind of, that is the hard part for them now. Because they didn't get there first, they weren't able to establish any control. You just have Heimerdinger with basically the most terrain denial possible, waiting for you to walk in, as well as Ash Arrow, Nautilus, like all these things that you just don't want to walk into. You have no effective range or really poke to find your way into the objectives. That's why it's so incredibly important for Rivals if they want to stay in this game. They have to establish that vision on the bot side earlier and try to find some sort of control to get these team fights where they want them to be.
Yeah, Rivals did pick up the first 2 dragons, so it's not like they're in sole threat range just yet. But if you aren't going to be there first, I think it might just be better to give up that dragon. Have somebody collecting farm on the top side. Start getting your gold further and further ahead. But in the meantime, Dodge the Q, looking for Jimothy Halpert. He's just going to blast one out. The smite doesn't kill the Gromp, so Dodge the Q is going to pick that one up for his troubles.
At least you got something out of it, right? Continue to go with this gold lead. I'll be really interested to see what Dodge the Q decides into his third item. We do see the Wit's End and Kraken Slayer already complete on him. Kraken Slayer, or the Wit's End, continue to be the flavor of the month for most carries.
Yeah, I have seen with Akshan, most of the time you go for that on-hit build, the Kraken Slayer, the Wit's End. If this trend continues, I would expect him to just pick up the Ginsus. I think that would be the most likely third option. There has been a newer build coming around. You still go Kraken Slayer first item, but you're looking more for like Collector Infinity Edge, just looking for straight up crit damage. Flash in from Tall Guy, looking for the engage, but a great flash off from Ariana Grande means he's not going to get caught out by that root. It's just going to be a flash for flash trade.
Now, I will say with Dodge the Q and Tall Guy there, they have somewhat of a good siege, and it was a good idea overall. Try to get the pick at the very beginning here. But so far, we're starting to see some of this good old NAA ram. Just both teams kind of hanging around the mid lane waiting.
Flashing forward into the Akshan. A great knockup from CV the Barbarian means he's not going to get any more damage on top of that. Akshan staying alive in this whole fight. Executed by Graves. End of the line coming down to take him out. Ariana Grande now in the death room with a bit of trouble. Ice flashing on top of him. Gets the isolation damage and just pops the Ash away. Shutdown gold given over to him. CV the Barbarian looking for the Yuri engage. They're walking into Heimerdinger turrets. They're taking so much damage. Still a 1-for-1 trade. Dodge the Q picking up Wolfie. Gets the heroic swing again. Picks up the Heimerdinger. Gets the revive on his support. And gets the final kill over to iSurge. That is an ace for the Rivals.
And that's exactly... Now, Alabama, a little bit different look. But that's exactly what you're looking for as Rivals, is the over-aggressive Malzahar kind of jumping into the enemy team and giving you that ability to be keep them on their back foot the entire time. Excellently played overall from both iSurge getting onto the Ashe and saying you don't get to play the game today, as well as Dodge the Q being very confident in his damage to be able to get the revive off on CB Barbarian to have all 5 up for this Baron.
Yeah, I do have to say, the flash in from Donkey Cheeks may be a little questionable. Difficult for your team to follow up when you are over that particular river wall. But it does come out in favor of the rivals, and maybe that's something that you just look at the VOD review and say, hey, what do we do about this next time?
Yeah, it's like that old quote I love to hear, and it's like you're winning the game until you lose. And that might be the moment right there where we see a very big shift in the course of the game and the tempo. Now Rivals sitting on nearly a 4K gold lead with the Baron buff. They had a better map state than the Mingos in terms of towers, because now they're just down to the inhib tower in the mid lane, as well as a bot wave. Looks like it's pushing there as well. So there's a lot of gold on the map for them. And if they continue to play like that and find, I guess, the good counter plays, then they can get a lot done here.
Yeah, definitely a lot to be said. We are starting to hit these item power spikes. Dodge the Q, opting just for the Collector to hit that 3rd item power spike, not even going for the Ginsu's, just wants the upfront power. Eyesight getting close to that. Bloodthirster looking for his 3rd item power spike. As the dragon starts to come in about 30 seconds, it looks like the rivals are going to have first move on the map this time. Timothy Halpert maybe a little bit out of position, but he's just going to walk away from the Nico route.
And I'll see now. This is the unfortunate part, is that iSurge does not have TP up, but Tall Guy does. And so in my mind, I would you have this wave crashing on the top end. I would just use my Baron buff because they're not in that soul.
Yeah, neither team in the soul threat range just yet. Just a little bit of poke going down onto Jimothy and Wolfie. In the meantime, rivals are just going to burst down the dragon, make sure there's no chance for retaliation, no stray Nautilus hooks or Ash arrows to be found here. They are just going to pick up the dragon with that Baron buff and walk away. Now they're setting up for a 5-man push mid while the Mingos are still on the bottom side.
Yeah, that's the power right there of Tall X Guy. You saw in the Nico, just keeping their whole team stuck in that tri-bush, unable to really move forward without the threat of just pain and suffering.
In the meantime, they've got the tower push of Nico and Mordekaiser and Akshan, so they're going to be taking down these towers super quick. Looks like the inhib is going to stay alive for now, which may be in favor of the rivals, strangely enough, as if they can't end the game in the next 5 minutes, that inhib would be giving over a lot of golden experience. But for now, it is just going to be rotating over to the top side, maybe trying to pick up the 2nd-tier tower.
Absolutely. I absolutely detest losing the mid-in, or taking the mid-inhib first, because then you can only play on top and bot, because that's auto-pushing. So it's so much harder for you to make these split plays when the mid-inhib's down. It's much easier to work on either the mid-bot side or mid and top side of the map when you're sieging both, as opposed to just taking out the mid-inhib because it feels good, but then losing that gold and really not being able to make any cross-map plays from that point forward. So really good discipline is what I'll attribute it to. And Dodge the Q just getting a free tower on the bot side while they were cleaning up top.
Yeah, another 600 gold in his pockets. This Akshan has picked up so much money over the course of this game with his W, 4 kills in his pocket, and 7 assists as well. He's just sitting on a pile of gold in comparison to Ariana Grande, who's really struggling to finish this 3rd item, looking for that LDR to try and start bursting through the tankier members of Rivals.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of my complaints earlier, is this survivalist Ashe build with Whitson and shield bows, that she takes so much longer to come online. She already isn't that amazing of scaling of ADCs.
The Barbarian doesn't step up too far, senses out the play, doesn't end up stepping into the Heimerdinger turrets, luckily for him.
The bush strats, that is high tier Heimerdinger gameplay right there. But yeah, if Ashe had chosen, oh no.
Oh, Dodge the Q, gets hit by the Nautilus, by the Malzahar ulti. Now the fight is engaged. Eyesight picks up Nautilus. Tall Guy looking for the Pop Blossom, finds it onto 2. Wolfie gets bursted out. CB the Barbarian gets traded in return, but in the meantime, it's just a Rivals fight all the way. Alien Boy picked up the fight. The come up, it's being charged up, and he is going to be taken out. Alien Boy not willing to tank for his ADC. And that means it's going to be a double kill over to Dodge the Q. And with the passive on the W, he's going to sense where he is. Stopwatch gets popped. Turret comes down. Alien Void just looking for any sort of fight, but it's going to be the revival of the CB the Barbarian, so all 5 of the Rivals members are alive for what looks like it's going to be the end of the game.
Dodge the Q says you can run, but you cannot hide from your comeuppance. Finding the Heimerdinger and getting the style on him just a little bit. But that is exactly what, if you're going to play a traditional solo lane champion in a duo lane, you have to do exactly what Rivals did and just rotate him around the map and funnel as much as you can into him.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job of making sure Akshan had more impact on the map than the Heimer did, than the Ashe did, than even the Malzahar did. Really well played from the Rivals. I think Mingos had momentum there in the mid game. They were really looking strong, but then they took Baron, didn't do anything with it. They even got a free pick onto Eyesight when they stepped up too far, but it just felt like once they had the lead, they didn't do enough with it.
Absolutely. And like you said, when you go back to the VOD review and kind of find that point, maybe that flash over the wall or maybe that Baron buff is where we have to kind of look and refresh and reform going into the next week.
And speaking of next week, we will be stepping away for a little bit to get ready for our next game, which is, if I'm remembering correctly, the Goon Gang versus, who is it? It is the Goon Gang versus Spawn Point. That is it.
The one and only spawn point.
We'll be taking a quick break to step away from that, but after just a short break, we'll be right back here for game 2. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Gold Cap Get Wrecked series. Today, for our last game of the day, we have Spawn Point on the blue side, and we have the Goon Gang on the red side. Do you want to go ahead and introduce our Spawn Point players?
Absolutely. In the top lane, we have ST Pillars on the Lilia, Tiger Rouge in the jungle on Lee Sin, Kemamonsti, we'll go with, played Syndra in the mid lane, and then finally the Ashe and Alistar in the bot lane, piloted by Abagor and Rosebuds.
For Goon Gang in the top lane, we've got Fishinobi on the Mordekaiser, Luke in the jungle on that Trundle, favorite pick of his, Glisk in the mid lane on that Yone, and Anime Nonstop and Broken System in the bot lane, piloting the Sivir and the Nautilus.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see Sivir right now. That absolutely makes my heart full. The current build with her with the lethality, going with Dark Harvest, it's just so great to watch a team fight where she throws a single Q and takes out the entire enemy team's health bars. Love it.
As opposed to the Heimerdinger from last game. But it looks like we are just going to have both teams setting up for a very standard 5-point defense. No huge early game action going on. Looks like junglers again will be starting on the opposite sides of the map, so no real action coming in early. So we have plenty of time to talk about a couple of interesting picks here. We've got the Yone in the mid lane for Glisk, which is not something we see very often, as well as the Lilia top for Pillars.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see where how the Lilia does. I've seen it in some solo queue games. This is her post nerfs, which, if I recall correctly, took away some of her damage but gave her more heal scaling, if I recall correctly. But either way,
check.
Yeah, either way, like playing Lilia and Mordekaiser is going to be an interesting matchup. I think she has the ability, if she can outplay the pull, to just get in those queues and just kind of walk away and dance around the fight. And her team fight potential later on with the Swirl Seed into the sleep is just so useful.
Yeah, definitely a lot that Lilia can do in team fights. That Flash Lullaby, definitely threatening with the amount of AoE that she has. But we'll have to see how that gets ended up piloting late game. We do have another Mordekaiser into a ranged AP top laner, which is a little bit painful for him, but I'm sure Fishinobi is fine to just farm up and survive here.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot less kill pressure with Lilia than there was with that terrorist of a Heimerdinger. But in the bot side too, I think it's going to be interesting 2v2. One, because we've only seen 2 Alistar picks this split so far in gold. It is a very technical champ to get the headbutt knockup combo where you're not just throwing them away. But also now add another layer because you have the Nautilus that can kind of counter engage on him, as well as the spell shield from Anime Nonstop that just says like, hey, you really can't come into us too hard for fear of losing your health and being locked down in place.
Yeah, the extra spell shield from Anime Nonstop will definitely be helpful into later game with things like the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Unleashed Power from Syndra, or even just a stray Lee Sin kick. But Rosebuds on the Alistar actually has fairly decent counterplay into it. It's just a matter of timing, not doing the usual QW combo, looking to let the W hit, pop the spell shield, and then hit the knockup. It'll be interesting to see how it plays. But speaking of, Rosebud's hitting a good knockup on the Broken System, denying that passive for a little bit longer. Boop looking for his way in. Abagor gets stunned up. Pillar not going to pull him back, and it's just going to be the Ignite burned for nothing.
Yeah, and like you said right there, excellent reaction time from Rosebud, sensing the Q and hitting the knockup right there to actually create a little bit of spacing and allow him to reposition.
In the meantime, Fishinobi in trouble, forced to pop the W shield, almost going down, gets barely a little bit of healing out of it, making sure he stays alive. Luke really trying to get pressure on this bottom side with this Trundle. It looks like he's just going to go pick up that bottom side scuttle for now.
Yeah, Trundle is another one that is very interesting as a pick. I love him coming back into the meta.
Oh, Fishinobi looking for a very dangerous trade here. Tigger Roosh is up here. Might just look for the Q snipe onto Fishinobi if he's not expecting it. Waiting over the wall. Lands the Sonic Wave, the Resonating Strike. First blood for Tigger Roosh.
Excellently played and set up there, even though SP Pillars was in that death range, just playing very well and kind of keeping Fishinobi interested in sticking around. And he does have to burn the TP right off of that to be able to catch this wave.
I think it's what the kids call a very nice bait by Pillars, setting up his jungler for an easy first blood.
Very cool. Much good. Yeah, and on the bot side, what I was gonna say is that whoa, Luke.
The engage from Rosebuds. Luke looking really low here. The Ignite's burned on top of him. Abigor flashing forward for that last auto attack. Rosebud's going to pick it up with the Ignite. Heal burn from Abigor. He is going to survive. Rosebud still in this fight. Has not lost a lot of HP. Now Broken System definitely in trouble. A good knockup from Rosebuds means Broken System is going to have to flash over the wall. Gets picked up by Abigor. The great spell shield from Anime Nonstop means he's in less trouble. He stayed a little bit too long, and now that's a kill for Tiggerouche as well. All in favor of Spawn Point right now.
Yeah, I don't think the Krugs were worth it that time. That is the essential piece for any team, but especially for Goon Gang. To try to get this Trundle going and be able to counter farm, you have to have priority in the lane, or else, you know, we see what happens with Spawn Point just being able to go in and do whatever
Good
they
flash
want.
from Kamansi means he's going to be able to dodge out the Fate Sealed.
I don't care what the trade is. Every time Yone is on the screen, it's just like an anime battle. The champion is so much fun. And this is actually a pretty skillful matchup between the Syndra and the Yone. Really having to play their spacing correctly to make sure the other one doesn't get an upper hand on one another. But somehow
Yeah.
it's still the quietest lane thus far, with SP Pillars and Fishinobi constantly fighting, and all the things we've seen with this Trundle prioritizing bot lane thus far.
Yeah, really trying to get the Silver Nautilus ahead, but so far it has worked out in favor of Spawn Point. Abigor and Rosebuds playing the lane really respectfully, making sure they're not in threat range and not moving until they know exactly when they can. But I do have to say, the matchup in mid lane is pretty interesting. Kamansi with the phase rush on the Syndra means that he can get out of Yone's threat range if he lands a full combo, but if Blitzkrieg can continue to dodge the spells coming out from Kamansi, really difficult for him to proc the phase rush. It means that he can get in, do what he wants to do. So I think you're right. It is a pretty skill-based matchup.
Oh, exactly. The thing that'll be interesting is as the game progresses, trying to think towards the 5v5 between either team. I feel like right now it sort of favors Goon Gang, because I think they just have a little bit more standardized 5v5 team comp. The what is it, the Unbroken Will, or whatever you like, whatever the name is, of Alistar's ult, can get a lot of work done and make a lot of playmaking to where he can soak that damage and create a good front line for Syndra and Ashe to get work done. But when you have a Mordekaiser, a Trundle in your face, and a Yone swooping in from God knows where, it's a lot harder to contend with just Alistar.
Yeah, I do think that the Unbreakable Will is a pretty good counter into the specifically the Trundle ultimate, that Subjugate, as Alistar ultimate doesn't provide any flat armor or MR. It really just gives you a percentage resistance. Speaking of, we've got a Titan in the top lane. Fishinobi pulls him into the Death Realm. A good lilting lullaby. Misses the flash obliterate. Pillar's looking to try and just kite this one out, but a good bit of healing for Fishinobi is going to make it difficult. Flashing away from the obliterate again, and he's going to pick up the solo kill. In the meantime, Goon Gang is going to pick up the dragon on the bottom side.
That was just a technical masterpiece from SP Pillars, knowing exactly where the Mord was trying to get accomplished, using a lilting lullaby to really time out the Death Realm. All those things were just so beautiful. And as we can see, because of that, they do pick up, Goon Gang does pick up the first one of the game.
Ooh, a good double combo from Rosebuds. A nice two-man knockup. Gets the stun onto Broken System. Broken System tops the depth charge onto Abigor, taking a bit of damage in retaliation. Spell Shield does not land anything. A good enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Broken System. A great flash knockup from Rosebuds is going to put Anime Nonstop back into the fight. But does Abigor have enough health to sustain it? He's one hit away, but a good stun from Rosebuds again means he's going to stay alive. But in the meantime, Pillars has overstayed his luck a little bit too much. Going to get picked up by Luke in the top lane.
Pillars was found by another pillar. Oh, that's so unfortunate. But we do see in the meantime, while this was happening in the bot lane, Tigger was able to find the Rift Herald, making that cross-map play. Sadly, SP Pillars dies in the process, but that is a little bit done. With a 2-0 Lee Sin, loving to skirmish early, and now having this Rift Herald to put onto the map and progress one of his lanes ahead even more, it just equals such goodness for the side of Spawn Point.
Yeah, I also got to say, incredibly well played 2v2 from Abigor and Rosebuds, managing their health and cooldowns perfectly. Abigor, Rosebuds landing the stun onto Anime Nonstop just to make sure that Abigor stays alive long enough to get that last hit. Really well played from them.
Oh, absolutely. The mechanical prowess of Rosebuds thus far is out of this world, and they're doing a great job punishing the Sever, who does not have that much strength, in my opinion. Now with the Caulfield's Warhammer has a little bit more AD to their name, but they're not an attack based champion at this point. It's really all around that Q, even with the passive from the ultimate up, giving them attack speed. It just doesn't do that much. So if you're not hitting good Qs, you're not getting a lot of damage down that way, you're going to lose every day of the week, especially to an Ashe who's a very attack based champion.
Yeah, we saw the fight. It was pretty close, but in the end, it is the spawn point side coming out on top of that one. Now sitting on a comfortable 4,000 gold lead as we just crest that 10-minute mark. Next dragon coming up, Cloud Dragon, which means, again, no Cloud Rifts today, keeping our luck moving into this final game of the day. There's a Mountain Soul or an Infernal Soul, and I think either way, Spawn Point is happy with the soul that's coming on the map.
Oh, absolutely. And the question will be is how Goon Gang really decides to maneuver around this. I think that Fishnobi and Pillars are kind of locked into this stalemate of counterplay versus counterplay. So kind of getting down towards the bottom side of the map and hopefully getting your Sivir and your Nautilus on a little bit of gold and try to even this out to a degree would do a lot, especially 2 minutes to your next Drake. You've already picked up one. I think stacking dragons is the best thing to your name at this point.
Yeah, but with the priority now that Abigor and Rosebuds have in this lane, it's going to be pretty difficult to start stacking those up. They may just have to give over this Cloud Dragon, maybe hope for a Mountain Dragon, just get those raw stats. Lisk in a bit of trouble. Kamanzi has to flash away. A Great Fate sealed onto 2 means the fight is going to start off strong for this against Spawn Point. Tigger Rouge picking up the kill onto the Glisk. Killing spree for him. A great kick over the wall. Luke not getting the flash back over it. Anime Nonstop now in very much trouble. Broken System doesn't have the Aftershock up. He gets picked up by the red buff. It means that Luke is just going to be left all on his lonesome. 4 kills for 1 in favor of Spawn Point.
That was such good timing from the Syndra, knowing that she was going to go down, but still getting off that Force Unleashed and getting so much damage to trade 1-for-1 with Yone was phenomenal. That fight was unfortunate that Luke got kicked over the wall and couldn't make it back in. But overall, we're continuing to see how well Rosebuds is doing in these fights and just disrupting the side of Goon Gang from being able to be effective.
Yeah, that was a great Fate seal from Glisk as well, landing onto 2 of the squishier members right now. I was really surprised that they were able to survive as long as they could. Kamanzi does go down in trade, but it doesn't end up mattering as the Spawn Point side just comes out super far ahead.
Absolutely, and they should be able to pick up the second Drake pretty uncontested. Now, at this point, you would think for the bot lane of Anime Nonstop and Broken System, this would be a great time for them to kind of hold this wave back, say, hey, we're going to go ahead and give up this Drake and just try to scale.
Oh, speaking of, another great 2-man knockup from Rosebuds is going to land a stun onto Anime Nonstop. The spell shield was a bit too late. Abigor flashing forward, getting the kill onto him. Now on a rampage, Broken System in a bit of trouble. He's just stalling time for Luke to show up. Abigor with no health and no mana, but a great headbutt from Rosebuds means he's not going to be able to fight his way in. This Alistar has been such a good disruptive tool for the side of Spawn Point. How are Goon Gang going to be able to find their way into this Ashe if Rosebuds is just sitting on top of him?
That is the question of the year. Unfortunate, like I was trying to say before this just happened, almost like a soothsayer. Anime Nonstop and Broken can no longer contest. This lane is unplayable for him in the 2v2. So they have to try to play defensively and just allow the waves to kind of push towards their T2, stall it out, and it's a much easier area to try to control in your own blue side jungle than as opposed to trying to push towards this tower. Because right now, Sivir just cannot do much against this team.
We do see the Mountain Rift come online, turret plates go down, but I think that is to the benefit of Goon Gang that it is the Mountain Dragon. Whether they lose it, it means that there's more stats for Luke and Fishnobi to steal, but if they get them, that's just more tanky stats on the Nautilus, on the Trundle, and on the Mordekaiser as a whole. Makes it a lot easier for them to pilot the fights. Speaking of Mordekaiser, has to flash away from the Lilting Lullaby. The CDR boots, the Tenacity boots means he's not going to be fully stunned up by it. Maybe can pick up Pillars before he gets taken down. A great flash away from the passive. Doesn't get the pullback, and Pillars picks up the kill. Solo in the Death Realm. No assist from the team needed.
This is
sorry. Got a knockup from Nisk. A great sidestep from Kamanzi to get away from that Fate seal. The Broken System lands the knockup, but there's just no follow-up to be had. Glisk had already burned all of the cooldowns.
They're just continuing to see each of these little mechanical outplays that are starting to build up for the side of Spawn Point.
Good flash forward from Rosebuds. Doesn't have the headbutt or the pulverize just yet, but Anime Nonstop gets kicked back in. A good flash away, but it's not in time. He still gets picked up by the Lee Sin Sonic Wave. In the meantime, Rosebuds goes on a killing spree now on the Alistar. Blisk in a bit of trouble. Sonic Wave Revenue Strike lands again. Tigger now on a double kill. 7-0 on this Lee Sin. And this is just looking like more and more dangerous for Goon Gang. A great stun under the tower means that Fishnobi's going to go down. Luke is the next to follow. And that's a clean ace for the side of Spawn Point.
My goodness. They're playing the map so well for the side of Spawn Point, going topside to make sure that Fishnobi goes down, even though it was the solo bolo from Pillars, and then just turning around and taking that same priority over to the mid lane where Glisk had already burned everything. Nautilus had burned his ult as well, so they now have these massive tools that are no longer in the fight and just playing it so perfectly.
Yeah, I think we're really seeing why Spawn Point is 3-0 in this league right now. They have definitely the most mechanically impressive team that we've seen so far on an individual level and on a macro level. They're playing the map really well, along with having these little micro 1v1, 2v2 outplays.
Absolutely. And I think at this point, if you're Goon Gangs and you're saying, how do I get back into this game? Number one is Nautilus has to move around the map more. Anime Nonstop, needs to just catch side lane waves, kind of sit back and scale. They do have the Manamune done, only halfway stacked right now, if that. So you kind of have to get more going with Luke and Broken System moving around the map and trying to find these picks and working as that jungle support unit to try to take out and just stack the numbers against what are some very mechanically impressive players.
Would it be weird to say that a win condition for Goon Gang is to lose an inhibitor? They want the extra golden experience funneling into their base. Losing an inhibitor this early in the game would not be awful for them. Kamansi finds a stun onto Luke, is forced to flash away. Knows that there's possible follow-up from that Enchanted Crystal Arrow and from Pillars on this Scuttle Crab. It looks like that is just going to be the Mountain Dragon in about a minute 30. It's still a whiles away. I think maybe the Spawn Point team is here a bit early, but getting the extra vision control, never a bad thing.
Oh, absolutely. Right now, the map is Spawn Points, and Goon Gang's just living on it. To your earlier question, I think that if you gave Spawn Point the opportunity to take the inhib, that could just very well be the game. With the way that their comp is set up and the gold leads that they're on right now, it'd be very remiss to say if they get that far that Goon Gang could push them back at this moment. Sadly, Mordekaiser 0-4, hasn't picked up the Riftmaker yet, as well as Luke has not made it to his mythic item either. So there's a lot of item deficiencies and breakpoints they have not met to.
Oh, Luke, very much in trouble. A good headbutt pulverize means he is just going to be taken down. Luke walking in the jungle without vision into the waiting hands of Spawn Point.
And we might be seeing that inhibitor come out here pretty soon with the Rift Herald getting a second charge off. All Goon Gang can do is run for the hills.
Rosebuds pops the Unbreakable Will, looking for the engage on Fishnobi, but a good pullback means he's going to be safe for now. The inhibitor does go down, and that means it's going to be a lot of golden XP funneling, but it looks like Spawn Point might just be looking to end the game here. Gets the charge onto the Nexus Tower. They're going to pick that one up for free. Only one Nexus Tower left standing. They are forced to walk away with the respawns.
Hardest working Rift Herald in League of Legends right there, getting 3 charges off and a single life.
And now they just and an inhibitor.
And now they're just able to rotate beautifully down to the next Drake off of that play. And this is the macro you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, good unstoppable from Glisk means he's going to be able to walk away from the Alistar combo, but I don't think that Goon Gang should even be contesting this one. It's not Soul Dragon, it's not even Soul Point Dragon. This one does not have a huge impact on the game. This is one that you just give up and keep collecting the experience in the bot lane and in the mid lane.
Absolutely. They're at an 11k gold deficit at the moment, so they should be looking to prioritize anything and everything on the map. There's a phrase that I've heard from a few different analysts where you call it the super play, right? At this point in the game, you're far enough down where it's going to take one of those miracle plays to get back into it. So they have to kind of look and tactically choose when they're just going to all in and say, this is it, fist for fist. We're going to make something happen here, whether it be our Nexus blowing up or us acing the enemy team. That's what they kind of have to look to at this point. Now, with Yone on the shield bow, we have the Divine Thunder finish for Trundle. We're getting closer to a Riftmaker as well on the Mordekaiser. And when you get to that point, this is all you can do is just try to make it happen.
Yeah, I think the disaster right now is Sivir is still about 160 mana away from that completed mana immune. It's going to be very difficult for her to hit that power spike before I think a Baron fight happens, or even the next Dragon fight does. We're going to have to see her have to stack up pretty quick. And speaking of Barons, it looks like Spawn Point are just going to take their gold lead and take this Baron down. Again, more golden experience to be pushed into the side of Goongang if they're going to start scaling themselves into the game. Now's the time. Pillars maybe in a little bit of trouble, caught up by the Pillar. Subjugate comes down, Conqueror stat from Luke, but he just does not have the damage onto this Lilia, who has not built a single tank item.
Full AP said, I'm just going to run away like a fast deer. And at this point, you really got to wonder what comes next. We do see this rated Dirk now on December, so she has a little bit more AD. This is the downside of choosing her as an ADC, is you need so much time to stack up and really get to 2 items to see her really start to hit like a truck into even the tankier members of Spawn Point.
Yeah, we are seeing almost the 3rd finished item from Avagor. He's already sitting on that Rage Knife looking to pick up that Ginsu's. And yeah, it is just Spawn Point right now pushing their lead super aggressively. I don't think they're really too threatened by the combo from... Oh, look, Grillis looking for the Fate Unsealed, but does not end up picking up a single target, just gets blown up by the Unleashed Power. Broken System looking for his way into the fight, but the gold lead is just so in favor of Spawn Point right now. Fish Novi looks for the Death Realm on top of Abagor. A great flash kick onto Animate Non-Stop means he is going to be picked up. A triple kill for Kamansi. 1 kill picked up for Abagor as well. And it looks like Pillar's picking up that final kill for another clean ace. 25-2. This game was just Spawn Point from minute 1. Really well played by them, and it looks like they are just going to take the whole game away here.
Absolutely. Spawn Point continue to find all the fights they wanted with a very dynamic bot lane, as well as the Lily on the top, just continuing to do work and really nullify any chances that Goongang had to get into the game. Very well played, and as we see Spawn Point moving to 4-0, it'll be interesting to see how the weeks to come fare for gold.
Yeah, I do think that there were definitely weak points. I think there was that 2v2 in the bottom lane that required mechanical outplay for Spawn Point to win it. Abigor getting super low. If one more auto comes down on top of him, or if maybe the items are a little bit better in Sivir's favor, that fight is a lot more difficult to win. Maybe even goes in favor of the Goongang, but I think it's just... It was Spawn Point mechanically, and it was Spawn Point on the macro. They played the game really well.
Absolutely. This has been just another action-packed week of the GRLCS Gold Division. And once again, my name is Regdor.
And I am What's Too Pretty, and I think this is where we will be signing off for today. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll hope to see you tomorrow for our Platinum series when our casters take us there next.